You know that feeling, right? When you're with someone and you just get them, you know exactly what they're thinking, or you feel totally understood and you've barely said a word. We put so much effort into finding the perfect words, but what if the most important conversations we ever have are actually the silent ones? That's what we're going to dive into. Okay, so check out this story from a user on Reddit. It just nails this whole idea. He gets this super specific craving for a Snickers bar, and he says it's something he barely ever eats. He thinks about texting his wife, but then he's like, nah. A few hours later, she walks through the door and just hands him a Snickers. It's one of those weird, amazing little moments that just doesn't seem to have a simple explanation. So what's going on there? Was that just a one in a million shot, a totally random coincidence? Or does that little story about a candy bar actually point to something way deeper? A whole other communication channel humming away just beneath the surface of our words? That Snickers story is a perfect jumping off point, isn't it? It's a tale of two minds just connecting. In moments like that, whether they're big or small, they really shine a light on this incredible, almost invisible way we have of resonating with each other. And here's the thing, we can feel completely, totally understood even when our words are a jumbled mess, or when we don't say anything at all. It kind of suggests that the real secret to connection isn't about being a great speaker. It's about something else entirely, something intuitive, something emotional that's just flowing between us. So what is that something else? How do we even begin to explain it? Well, lucky for us, psychology actually has a name for this, and it's the key to understanding how we can feel so deeply heard even in total silence. It's called emotional attunement. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like you have an emotional tuning fork. It's this ability we have to just sense what another person is feeling, to pick up on all those tiny unspoken clues, and to kind of, well, vibrate on the same frequency as them. And this isn't just you mentally guessing what they feel. I love how the source material puts it. It calls it a subtle body-based interactive dance. It's not something happening in you or in them. It's happening between you, a back and forth of these nonverbal signals that builds a shared feeling. And that right there, that's the whole ballgame. Emotional attunement is what gives us that profound, incredible feeling of being seen, of being truly gotten by someone else. It's the bedrock of any real, strong, trusting relationship. Okay, so if this is an interactive dance, what are the moves? If we aren't using words, how does it actually work? This is where we get into the real mechanics of it all, what you might call the music that's playing behind the words. Right, so how are these massive emotional messages zipping from my brain to yours if my mouth isn't even open? Well, it turns out our bodies are basically broadcasting stations, constantly sending out signals through a few key channels. And these are the big ones, a real smile that actually reaches the eyes, the way someone's voice can be warm or shaky, an open posture where someone's leaning in, or just the way someone holds your gaze. Every single one of these things is packed with emotional information, and honestly, it's often way more truthful than the words we choose so carefully. This leads to a really crucial idea about how we talk. In a lot of situations, like at work, we use low context communication. The literal words what matter most. But with the people we're closest to, we switch into high context mode. And here, a shared look, a certain tone, the history between you, that's everything. How you say it becomes way more important than what you say. And this just nails it, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. You can probably remember a time someone's tone made you feel safe, or a look made you feel small. But do you remember the exact sentence they used? Probably not. It's the emotional music that sticks with us long after the words are gone. I know, this all can sound a little bit like magic, but what's so wild is that it's not. It is deeply, deeply rooted in our biology. Our brains are literally built for this stuff. We all have a social superpower hardwired right into our heads. So first up, get ready for this. We have something called mirror neurons. These things are incredible. They're brain cells that fire out not only when we do something ourselves, like say we smile or we wince in pain, but also when we just watch someone else do it. So in other words, your brain runs a simulation of what the other person is going through. When you see your friend's face just light up with pure joy, your mirror neurons are firing in a way that gives you a little taste of that exact same joy. It's a direct neurological bridge for empathy. You are literally feeling by watching. And if you thought that was cool, hold on, because it goes even deeper. There's this thing called limbic resonance. It's the idea that the emotional hubs of our brains, our limbic systems, can actually start to synchronize with each other, creating this kind of symphony of shared feeling. Now, seriously, research is finding that when people are deeply connected, their heart rates, their breathing, even their brainwave patterns can start to line up. It's not just that our feelings are similar, our very biology is syncing up in this incredible dance. This is how emotion can literally flow between us. So we've got the psychology, we've got the neuroscience, but this whole thing really pushes us to ask a much bigger, more philosophical question. If we have this incredibly powerful, non-verbal way of connecting, what does that say about language itself? Is it really the best tool we have? Okay, this quote is a little dense, but stick with me because the idea behind it is huge. What it's basically saying is that language is slow. The second we try to take a pure thought or a feeling and squeeze it into words, there's a delay. It's like a badly dubbed movie. The words are always just a fraction of a second behind the actual experience. In that little lag, that clumsiness of language, that's exactly why we crave those perfect unspoken moments of understanding. Our deep human need for a connection that feels instant and pure, something we might even wish was telepathic, it comes from our frustration with how clunky and slow words can be. So when we see the word telepathy, let's just forget the sci-fi stuff for a minute. Let's think of it as the ultimate goal of communication, a direct, unfiltered, authentic exchange between two minds with no clunky words getting in the way. It's the dream of being truly, completely understood. And that brings us to the real takeaway. The bottom line is this. Trying to find the perfect words doesn't matter nearly as much as just being real. Whether it's a messy, awkward apology or just sitting in comfortable silence with someone, what builds the strongest connections isn't eloquence, it's authenticity. Letting what's on the inside match what's on the outside. And it's presence. Just being fully there, listening with your whole being. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. The words people say, they're just the lyrics. But the real meaning, the real story, all the deep emotion, that's in the music playing behind them. It's in the tone, the body language, the feeling in the air. So the next time you're with someone, which one are you going to listen to?